Yeah, so the next thing we're going to look at is receivables. As Avi was mentioning and you talked about, so when you look at your monthly statements, you may notice that the receivables that are in your collection status don't necessarily match what we have on the financial statements. So the first thing that we wanted to point out is that we separate your receivables and the prepaid expenses, or prepaid either maintenance or common charges. So we put those as both, your receivables are your assets, your prepaids are going to be your liabilities. So we segregate those, whereas at the bottom of your collection status, you'll just see most likely one number, and that includes both of those amounts. So you want to make sure you're looking at those numbers as two separate items. Then in more detail, there may be items that we have written off. So for example, laundry receivables. During COVID, we noticed that a lot of the laundry income was not coming in because a lot of the laundry contracts stipulate that you have to have either certain usage or certain occupancy in the building. So whereas you might be recording what the contract says, say $1,500 a month that you're supposed to be receiving every month, but the laundry contract says that they only need to give you, X amount of dollars during these times, that money is not going to be collected. So we take the position that we are going to write off the receivables that are not going to be collected so that they're not on our books. So that may be a reason that laundry receivable specifically is not the same that you may see on your collection status on your management reports.
Sarah,
the second,
sorry to interrupt really quick. Should laundry be charged as a late fee?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. Avi, do you?
Well, I think the question is whether or not, well, there's two answers to the question. One is, it depends what the board's policy is. So boards usually have a policy based on owners. So you have, 1A is not paying, you have after 30 days institute a late fee. I don't know if boards and condos and co-ops have the authority to charge a late fee to a vendor for non-payments, but it is something that buildings could pursue, especially if they're systematically always late with their payments. As long as they're supposed to be paying the full and they do pay the full. I've never seen it done, but unless you have to look at the laundry contract, it might say there that they have the right to pay within 90 days or 30 days or 60 days, as long as they're not fulfilling their contract requirement. Try it. I've never seen it done, but why not?
Yeah, I know. I've also seen laundry.
Oh,
sorry. I've seen laundry vendors pay like lump fees. Like they pay, it says they're supposed to pay $1,500 every month, but they pay $6,000 every however many months. So that they may be pursuing that sort of avenue if they're paying late. But yeah, it's probably in the contract, the laundry contract somewhere that says we have the opportunity to pay within 90 days of the end of that whatever cycle.
Got it. And is there a time when late fees resumed after COVID? Is that a generalized concept?
Well, I think most boards did that I don't think there, as far as I know, and I could be completely wrong, but I don't think there was any legal or governmental, I know there was obviously rent regulations that were put out that you couldn't, the proceedings in court were delayed because of COVID, and for rental buildings as well that they couldn't pursue, or there were programs. But in terms of charging late fees, I know most of the buildings kind of put a pause on late fees during COVID internally. It wasn't based on any mandates from New York City. So so if buildings haven't at this point brought back late fees, I think it's already been enough time to realize who's struggling from COVID non-payments versus people just trying to take advantage of the system. So there wasn't really a set time that it could come back for co-ops and condos, right? We're talking about co-ops and condos, not rentals. But again, I think you're in a co-op and condo, you could probably bring it back if it's been suspended for almost 2 years. I think you can bring it back, unless obviously the board doesn't want to, but that's the board's call.
Great, thank you.
The third one down, chargebacks for repairs, legal alteration. So during the audit process, we may see that there was a repair that was for a specific unit. So in a co-op, we will ask the property manager, or we'll reach out to see if some of those repairs, or if there's legal fees associated with a specific unit. If a specific unit or shareholder said, had an engineer come out for an alteration review, and it needs to be charged back to the unit owners, that may have been, we try to pick those up, we look for those, and then we will let management know. But that may be a difference as well, as why you see that your collection status does not match the numbers that are on the financial statement. Also, we take the position that if we see common charges over 6 months, I'm on D, that we will record an allowance. So we record an allowance to be conservative, saying that these common charges or maintenance have not been paid in 6 months. So we're going to put an allowance for uncollectible amounts that you'll see as a reduction to the total receivable amount. And that is normally not done on the management side. But on the financial statements, we want them to be as accurate as possible. Is that money going to be collected? Will it be written off? Are they past tenants? Or sometimes if there is money, or there are large receivables and we know that the unit is going to be sold, we won't record that allowance. But it's normally our position that if we see common charges or maintenance that has arrears that's over 6 months, we'll take some sort of allowance on that amount. And then last, we often record receivables for, if we see that there's a real estate tax refund, we'll record that as a receivable or a prepaid amount, or workers' comp dividend. They're often sent out at the beginning of the year, January, February. We'll pick those up so that they are presented in the year that they should have been, that they're associated with.